I was absolutely shell-shocked to find myself in a mental hospital. I literally couldn't believe it. It felt absolutely surreal. And, I was in a complete daze for quite a while. And, my first stay was 6 weeks. And over the next 2 years, I had 5 hospitalizations in 4 different institutions just to try and get things straightened out.
With that first one, was it terrifying?
But yeah. I mean, my only real understanding of what that kind of place was like, I'd gotten from the midday movie, when I was a kid, and so I didn't know what kind of characters I might be meeting and that. And, what I learned was that the kind of characters I'd be meeting were people like me, ordinary people who had found themselves in a position where they just needed some support to, refine their joy or get their life back on track, get their head on straight. People who just wanted to be able to live their best lives. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
So it wasn't scary for long. It wasn't
Yeah.
scary for long because I looked around and I was looking in a mirror everywhere I looked.
Yeah. So the idea of going there and being in there initially was scary, but in general, it wasn't a scary
No,
experience. No.
no. I mean, it was confronting. There were lots and lots of confronting things that happened, and that's what happens when you start to look into why the wheels have fallen
Yeah.
off. You've got to confront some stuff. And, over the past several years since all of this happened, which was, the end of 2019, start of 2020, in the years since, I've had to confront some things that have been really, really devastating to confront. But, you come out the other side better off. So it's not a scary place. And what I actually learned was that it can be a preventative measure. It doesn't have to be where you go at the end of your rope. You can actually just be recognizing that you're hanging on to the rope at the top of the well and go, okay, I might need some extra support right now.
And what's life like? What were those 6 weeks like? What happened in there? So, because I too only have a movie.
Yeah. Well, at first, until you get your head wrapped around where you are and that there's a lot of taking of your stats and all the sort of stuff you would expect in a hospital. Sedation if you need it, rejigging of, you see a psychiatrist and they sort of look at what medication you're on and whether or not that's still working for you, or if you need any medication at all. There's a lot of group work, so you sit in group, which, I did not want to do, but you're required to do it. And yeah, so and a lot of downtime. And I think one of the most striking things for me about being in there was that there was no responsibility. So the only thing I was responsible for was turning up in the morning to check in with everybody and turning up to these sessions. And then, you got to choose whether you went and did the morning walk or whether you went and I actually had decided that I had run things into the ground so severely that I just needed to surrender to the process. And I just thought, I am not going to question this. Some of it feels so supremely dumb and some of it feels so outrageously ineffective and some of it feels wildly, outside my comfort zone. But I'm not going to question this now. I'm just going to surrender to the process because I have got it so wrong that maybe I need to just flick that switch completely and let somebody else step in and take over. So I did what I was told. I ate what I was given. I went where I needed to. I took the opportunities that were handed to me. I rediscovered a joy for swimming, which I had forgotten. I used to love to swim and I rediscovered that. And so I was allowed to go down to the local aquatic centre and swim laps, which I did as often as I could. I rediscovered a joy for art. And even though my resources were limited inside there, nothing sharp and all that.
Goodbye, goodbye, I'm in your head now. I'm in your head.